His three-pointer, bang!
G'day and welcome back to another episode of The Casuals. Another episode, everything going on inside the world of basketball and NBA. A lot to talk about, a lot of teams that seem pretty uneasy at the moment. I mean, you got the Lakers with Darvin Ham and their record post the in-season tournament. Golden State with Steve Kerr and Jonathan Kuminga, seems to be a bit of tension between them. Wemby plays his first real good game, I believe, against the Bucks. Kuminga once again. OG Anunoby, RJ Barrett and Quickly trade. We'll be breaking that one down and who is the winner out of that. Draymond Green is on his way back. Ja Morant out for the season. And we changed it up from last week. We had the team of the week. We might go alternate each week. But this week we have the shit team of the week. The arse team of the week. The team that didn't perform. The 5 players in each position that weren't good enough. That deserve to be pointed out. But firstly, Darvin Ham and the Lakers seems to be a fair bit of tension going on. There seems to be a bit of uneasiness or I'm not sure, the pressure that comes with coaching the Lakers. I mean, it's expected. It's one of the biggest organizations in the whole of the NBA and probably in the whole of sport. And what they're doing at the moment is all right, but it's just not good enough. The Lakers are 17 and 18, I believe, still, and just not where they need to be as a team. Darvin Ham, they always point, first finger goes to the coach, and I think it's a bit unfair. The players need to be playing. It's on them to play better. They're 18 and 19. Their away record is what is kind of ruining them. They're 6 and 13 away, and their last 10, 3 wins from 7 losses. Got a win against the Clippers in a really good fought game, but apart from that, it's been pretty pathetic in recent weeks. I mean, they're versus Toronto at the moment. It's a pretty close game, but beating LA, lost to Memphis, lost to Miami, lost to New Orleans, lost to Minnesota. Just not a whole lot going on for the Lakers. And Darvin Ham, I mean, you can't really blame anyone. You've got the whole lineup that's not really playing the best. When you got a 39-year-old LeBron James outplaying and out-efforting the whole of these young fellas and these young guys, it's so fucking... You can't... You just need to ask more out of your players. The defense is what was key for the Lakers when they were going really good. They were playing hard every possession. But since then, it seems to just all gone pretty downhill. LeBron trying his best. He's averaging 23 in January. I mean, he averaged 27 in December. Just unreal numbers. But, I mean, Anthony Davis, one of the guys that I thought maybe deserved to be in the MVP conversation. His aggressiveness just isn't there. And you need a guy like Anthony Davis who's a top guy on a top team to be just playing better. I mean, you got Giannis's, Joel Embiid, Jokic. You see what these big men can do and how good they can be. And then you got Anthony Davis who seems to just, whenever things get hard, he just takes the back seat a little bit. I mean, I'm asking for a little bit more, and I think he can give a whole lot more than what he's giving at the moment. I just don't see... There's a whole lot going on at the Lakers. They blame everyone. They're not terrible. I mean, they're really close to being further up the Western Conference standings, but they're just not. I mean, the Western Conference is no doubt outplaying what I ever thought. I thought some of these teams near the top weren't going to perform as well as they are. I mean, the Timberwolves playing out of their skin. Thunder, Nuggets, Clippers, the Kings showing up again. The Mavericks finally finding some form, and over the last 3 years, they've slowed down a little bit, I guess. But with that addition of Kyrie and Luka, I think they're both really finding a way how to play with each other, and it's working really well. The Rockets, Suns, Lakers, Jazz, Warriors really disappointing. And on the Warriors, Steve Kerr. There's a lot of chat about coaches this week. I mean, Steve Kerr has been thrown under the bus by Jonathan Kuminga, one of his own players. He's frustrated with Steve Kerr and that he's lost faith in Steve Kerr. I mean, you've got a Steve Kerr that's won three titles with Golden State, maybe 4 titles with Golden State, He's won his own titles playing with the Bulls, playing with the Spurs. This guy knows what he's talking about. And then you've got a Jonathan Kuminga who's in his probably third year, asking for more minutes, wanting to play more. I mean, you can't be asking that. He asks, he receives. He got his minutes. He got 35 minutes against Detroit Pistons, the worst team in the league. He goes out, puts up 11 points, 6 rebounds, and an assist against the worst team in the league. And the Warriors just scraped through for a win. He shot 50% from the field. I mean, when you want more minutes, you need to prove yourself. You need to play really, really good. And when he starts, he usually plays good. But the way he played after asking for more minutes just isn't what you'd expect for someone that seems to be wanting the ball more and thinks they're a real asset to a team. I mean, he's in that starting game. They lost against Toronto in today's game, but the starting game against the Pistons, 11 points. Against Denver, 16 points. Not too bad in 19 minutes. Shot at 85%. Shot at 71%, sorry. 19 points against Orlando. So he's playing pretty solid, putting up about 15 points in the month of January and the month of December. So playing pretty solid. But I think if he doesn't want to be there, get him out of there. I mean, put him in. I would love to see him at the Pistons. Just growing a younger team and growing something that isn't there. I mean, trading someone out of the Pistons, you can send whoever they want. They're all pretty pathetic except for Cade, maybe Jalen Duren, and Ivy. But apart from that, I mean, get him out of there. Another option would be the Raptors. I mean, a lot of news about Pascal Siakam wanting to get out of the Raptors, or maybe not even wanting to get out, but being maybe frustrated with how it's working at the Raptors. And I think there's a lot of options for him to go. I think putting Kuminga in that trade, maybe Andrew Wiggins in that trade, moving them across to Toronto would freshen up that Warriors roster and freshen up the Toronto roster and make them really dangerous. I mean, imagine that five. You got quickly there. You got RJ Barrett. Imagine a Kuminga off the bench possibly, although he wants to start, and Andrew Wiggins. I mean, a really, really good outfit if that trade went through. But there's a lot of different options for Pascal Siakam. Playing really well this year. 22 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Just an all-round good guy for any team to get their hands on. But moving on to Wemby's real first game. Real good first game, I thought. I thought this was his best game by so far against the Bucks. It didn't fully show on the stat sheet. I mean, it no doubt was really good how he played. They went down 125-121. This game was late December, I think, maybe just early January, possibly January 5th. I mean, Giannis showed him up, but I mean, Wemby put up really, really good numbers. 27 points, 5 blocks, 9 rebounds, and an assist. But 27, 5, and 9 against probably one of the best teams in the NBA is really, really solid. I mean, maybe the result looked a little bit better than it was. I mean, Vassell, their starting shooting guard, he 34 points, shooting 14 from 21, so he might have saved them on the scoreboard. But really, really impressive stuff. It wasn't as much as how it was showing on the stat sheet, but it was how he was just carrying himself. A big block against Giannis, playing the way he wanted to, off the backboard dunk. I mean, he was playing expansive and playing the way he wanted to play, not really pushing some shit way. He was really, really focused and playing really aggressive, which I like to see. But shown up by Giannis Antetokounmpo, a fucking unreal performance. 44, 14, and 7. Only missing 9 shots. I mean, he just showed up big time. It was a big battle that I actually was thinking about there. Would Wemby be able to show up against a Giannis who's fucking built like a brick shithouse that is huge and one of the biggest and best defenders in the league? And he did. He played really well. Shot 10 from 18. Pretty solid there. Shot pretty poorly from 3-point line, but he missed 6 from 3. He missed 6 shots from 3-pointer. That means he only missed 2 shots inside the 3-point line, which is a really good area to be attacking. I think he needs to be further attacking that in the paint and around that inside the 3-point line. But a really impressive game and a really good start to see him getting more aggressive and getting more improvements over his game. But moving on to this OJ Anunoby, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickley trade, one that went through last week, and let's see how each team is facing up after that trade. Now, let's start with the Knicks first. 5 wins in a row since the OG Anunoby trade. OG Anunoby has a plus 111 in his 5 games, an average of 22.25 on his plus minus, in the positive direction. Just so good. I mean, his defensive stops, everything he's bringing to this team is unreal. 23 points, 4 rebounds, no assists, a steal, a block in there. Just really fitting the mold of this team well. It's really impressive. Some good wins here as well. Pumping Portland today by 28, beating Washington by 16, beating Philly by nearly 40, Chicago by 16, and the Timberwolves, they're probably one of the best teams in the West. They beat them by 6, playing really well and a really improved and a better OG Anunoby that I ever thought was going to happen at the Knicks. The only thing he can probably work on is probably his communication. I mean, his assists at Toronto for the month of December, he averaged 3.4 assists with no games having 0 assists in that month or the month before. And then his time at the Knicks, he's had 0-2, 0-2, 1. Probably work on his communication, but that'll happen. Chemistry will grow, and he'll be a very valuable item to that Knicks team. Moving on to RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley, how they're going at the Raptors. RJ Barrett, 37 points in his game the other day against Golden State, winning by 15, shooting 65%, 5 from 8 from 3. I mean, since he's got to Toronto, he shot 54 field goal percentage, 53 3-point percentage, averaging 21 points, 6.5 rebounds, 3 assists. Personally, is going better than OG Anunoby stats-wise. The plus-minus is a little bit off. The team has only lost 1 out of the last 4, but really quality stuff. I love to see guys. I thought this was going to happen. I think RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickley, both of them, are really talented. And, I mean, you got Jalen Brunson there, and you got Julius Randle at the Knicks. I think they're both going to take the ball and both be shooting the shots that these two guys, these really quality guys that can be shooting. Emmanuel Quickley getting the opportunity, playing more minutes. In his game, 17 points, 4.8 rebounds, and 6.5 assists. Both stats-wise, playing better than OG Anunoby at the moment. Just really good. Probably not shooting the way he'd want to be shooting, Emmanuel Quickley, but still 14, 26, 20 points in his games, shooting 41% from 3. It's really good to see these guys showing up, and I think Toronto are going to grow really well. I think it could reignite Pascal Siakam to the team and hopefully get him amped up and want to be playing there still and showing that they can have a chance of going far in the Eastern Conference, because in the Eastern Conference there's a lot of room to be making moves. I mean, at the top, these guys don't really have the best record. I mean, from 8th down, no one has a plus 0.5 plus 0.5 record. I mean, there's no one there that has it. It's interesting to see. I didn't think they'd be really this shit this side of the East. I thought the West and East pretty similar, but this East team from about 8th down is really poor. The Raptors sitting in 11th at the moment, 15 and 21. If they win 2 games or 3 games and the Bulls and Knicks drop a few, they're up into 9th. I mean, they can sit around that 9th spot, maybe move up to 8th. The Magic Cavaliers sitting in that 7 and 8 spot. But I think with the additions of RJ and of Emmanuel Quickley, I think they're going to be moving up really nicely in the Eastern Conference, and I think they'll get in the play-in, and no doubt I think they'll win their play-in game and move into the playoffs and could do something. But moving on, Draymond Green is back. His 12-game stretch of ban has been finally revoked, and finally he's allowed to play. But there's a lot going on around him. He's eager to get to the court and has a lot of meetings with psychologists and with the team and with Steve Kerr. He said on the Draymond Green show that he had a cry to Steve Kerr and that it was a really emotional chat. That there's a lot of stuff that's the whole Warriors organization at the moment seems to be a little bit uneasy and not really going the way they'd want it to. I mean, Steph Curry hasn't been playing the way Steph Curry want to be playing. He's in the Ask Team of the Week. We'll get to that in a second. But Draymond, he's back. He's back with the team, practicing together. Let's hope they get together and start to play better basketball. It's always good to see when this Warriors team is on fire. Disappointing as well, the loss of Chris Paul. He's injured his finger, has to have surgery on his finger. But a lot of positives to look forward to for this Warriors team, and you hope they can come together. I mean, you hope the coaching staff can come together. You hope there isn't uneasiness. I mean, Clay, Steph, all of them haven't been playing the way they wanted to, and they're still sitting in that 10-11 spot. So, I mean, they can't be too frustrated, no doubt annoyed on how they're playing, but you can't be too disappointed with sitting where they are with the effort, and not the effort, but the performances they've been putting out. They're just not up to scratch. But will be interesting to see Draymond come back and how he's going to play and if he's going to return back to normal Draymond and be that aggressive guy and be that guy that complains to refs. Is he going to get teed up? Are the refs going to be noticing more? Is there going to be a lot more focus on him? He said he had a big chat to Adam Silver. Adam Silver seems to be one of the fucking greatest blokes you'll meet. Draymond explained to Silver that he thought he wanted to retire. He said he was ready. He was done. He was sick of it. 33 years old, and Adam Silver said, you're just making a rash decision that you know you'll regret, and he convinced him and changed his mind, luckily, because I'd still love to see Draymond in the league. He's an entertaining player, and whatever that entertainment is unknown, but he's entertaining, no doubt, and I think everyone loves to see any player get back on the floor after a little break and a little mental health fix up, I guess. But moving on to a guy that is struggling and fucking sucks. The Grizzlies just get back on track, playing really good basketball, and Ja Morant is out for the season. Ja Morant requiring surgery on his left shoulder, I believe, on a torn labrum, a fecal alignment that tends to require surgery and nearly half a year of rehab. The good news is that according to the Grizzlies, Morant is expected to make a full recovery in time for the 2024-2025 season. I mean, it's a huge step back. They were 6-3 since he came back, playing really well. He's so good. I think he is one of the best guards in the league, no doubt, but missing that 25 games at the start and now this injury is really disappointing. It's a blow for the Grizzlies, no doubt. It puts them in their tracks, I think. I think it pretty much finishes any hope they wanted to of having any playoff chance or play-in chance. I just don't think they're going to be able to show up week in, week out, knowing that he's not coming back and that they're going to have to do it by themselves without a Ja Morant, their best player on the floor. I mean, they're sitting in 13th and 12th. The Warriors above them is 3 wins ahead of them. I just think there's too much of a hill to climb. I mean, their record at home is 3-13. Their away record is better than their home record. There's a lot to work on for that Grizzlies team, and it could be a rebuilding year. They could be fixing things up and be coming back bigger and better. But until then, I think we can put a line through the Grizzlies with Ja Morant being out this season, and no doubt would be disappointing for him and disappointing for the whole organization. But moving on to the Ask Team of the Week, starting at guard, Steph Curry. I mean, he didn't play well. He didn't play poorly in his game against the Detroit and Denver, but it's the game against Toronto. They lost by 15 points. He shot 2 from 14, a 14% field goal percentage, 0 from 9 from 3, 9 points, -17 on his plus minus, and a 15-point loss is absolutely abysmal. A terrible performance. And I mean, Steph Curry's 3-point streak was so fucking huge, and now in the last 2 weeks, I think he's missed a three in 2 games. I mean, let's have a look at his 3-point streak. It was huge, probably nearly 1,000. 268 games he didn't miss a 3-pointer, and then he lost it against the Portland Trailblazers, and now he's done it again. He's had to restart all over against Toronto, and I couldn't believe that he'd done it again. I thought it was all over. I mean, he's testing his luck. He's shooting in some of these other games. He's having really poor shooting performances, shooting 42% from his field goal in the month of January, 31% from 3, just not up to scratch on his numbers. Moving on to my shooting guard, no one else but Jordan Poole. I mean, since he's moved from the Warriors, he has gone downhill. Against the Knicks, 10 points, shooting 40%, 4 from 10. Against Cleveland, 0 from 4, 2 points in 23 minutes. And then against Cleveland again, 23 minutes, 27% shooting, and 8 points. I mean, he scored 20 points in 3 games, averaging about 27, 28 minutes. Really, really poor, and there was a lot of hype around him since he was playing well at the Warriors, and now he's just taken a massive step back and hasn't been playing anywhere near that level and what the expectation of him was. Just shooting really poor, 35.7% from field goal, 36.8% from 3-point, just nowhere near the expectation that anyone had for him. Moving on to our power forward, too many Kamara, the power forward for the Trailblazers. I mean, there's not too much to go with this. Shooting 38.5% in his games in the last week. 5 points, 5 points, 10 points, 10 points. He's a bit of rebounds, but not much. I mean, pretty poor performances. 2 from 4, 1 from 3, from 3-point line. 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 personal fouls, 2 turnovers. A bit of a shocker here, and only 1 win coming in those 4 games in the last week. Pretty average performance from too many Kamara, but it's tricky on that Trailblazers team who are looking pretty shot already. Moving on to our small forward, we've got Patrick Williams. 3 games, 8 points, 5 points, 3 points. Averaging 5 points, 5.3 points in his last 3 games. I mean, what else you want to hear? 29.4% field goal, averaging 3 rebounds, 0.7 assists, 2.7 turnovers, and a personal foul in his 3 games. -20, -14 in his plus minuses. Just some absolute shockers here from Patrick Williams and the Bulls. And to go with that, they beat Charlotte, who's the worst team in the West. Lost to New York and then lost to Philly without Joel Embiid. So a pretty abysmal effort from Patrick Williams. And moving on to our center, Rudy Gobert. I mean, he actually wasn't that bad. There was just a lot of people that were playing really, really well this week at center. I mean, I couldn't really choose one. But Rudy, 9.3 points in his games. Shooting 55%, so pretty solid. 12.3 rebounds. I mean, I just couldn't find anyone else that did worse. I mean, they lost 3 out of their last 4, so that's something. But I think he was actually all right, but I couldn't find anyone else that was up there for a contender of the shit player of the week for my center position. But break down the full team. Let's start at guard. Steph Curry shooting none from 9 from 3 against Toronto. Jordan Poole shooting none from 4 against Cleveland. Patrick Williams scoring 3, 5, and 8 points in his 3 games. Too many Kamara scoring 7.5 points over 4 games. And then Rudy Gobert at center to finish off the shit team of the week and to finish off the episode. Thank you very much for tuning in. Another episode of The Casuals. Make sure you follow on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and now YouTube where you're watching this. Make sure you subscribe and don't be a casual and follow for more.